And unfortunately, we don't think of Adam alayhi salam as our father. We think of him as this distant historical figure. We're supposed to have love for Adam alayhi salam as we do for our own dad. We're supposed to have love for Hawa salamun alayha as we do for our own mom. And someone who's an enemy to our parents, just naturally we have an animosity towards him. That's the loyalty we're supposed to have to those parents of ours. يَنْزِعُ عَنْهُمَا لِبَاسَهُمَا. He snatched from them their clothes. He pulled their clothes off. لِيُرِيَهُمَا سَوْآتِهِمَا. So he may expose their shamelessness, or their shame. إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ. That same enemy that did that to your parents, he's watching you. He sees you. No doubt about it. هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ. He and his entire tribe. You remember, إِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنْظَرِينَ. You're from those who've been given time to wait. Now we know something more about those others that have been given time. Who are they? قَبِيلُهُ. His entire tribe. The ones that are following him. Qabil comes from Qubul. Qubul. Who's right ahead of him also means right behind him. This language of opposites. مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُمْ. From places you can't even see them. إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا شَيَاطِينَ أَوْلِيَاءَ. We made all of those devils protective friends. لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. For the people who don't believe. So the ayah just said, don't follow shaitan. And before it said, cover yourselves properly with the clothing of taqwa. And then it said, shayateen are the best friends to people who don't believe. So what are people who don't believe? How are they going to dress? Make sense? It's tied together now. So the fact that you're not from the awliya of shaitan, the way you dress is different. I don't want to just have this conversation in theory. Because man, our religious community, even in America, it's so weird. We've got our men and our women dressing so inappropriately. So inappropriately. You know? And the restrictions in our religion aren't complicated rocket science. Don't wear tight clothing. Don't wear revealing clothing. You know, don't wear see-through clothing. What's the point of wearing hijab and the rest of your body is completely exposed? What's wrong with you? You know what the Prophet called that? Kasiyat ariyat. Covered and naked at the same time. That's what he called them. Women that dress in tight clothes. Even men. Cover yourselves. And sometimes it's embarrassing to go to Salatul Jumu'ah. You know? Get a longer shirt. Cover yourself. You know? This is a fundamental teaching of our religion. And to dress like that, and then we show up to conferences and like other things. What's our definition of like looking religious? You know, a lot of Muslims, you know, they're not observing religion in their daily lives, but they show up to a religious event, so they figure just, and you know, that must mean now I'm observing the religion. That's not the religion. I don't know what that is. That's a curtain you just took off a window. That's not religious observance. The religion is about observing modesty. The hijab is icing on the cake. The hijab is it's one manifestation, but there are so many other aspects to modesty. And then on top of that, libas al-taqwa, right? The garment of taqwa, which means that we have to protect ourselves not just with our clothes, but with the way we carry ourselves. There are sisters and brothers that are properly covered. The beard is like super long. They trip on it sometimes, and they, you know, she's got hijab on and niqab on and everything else, but the way she carries herself is inappropriate. She doesn't carry herself appropriately. She's making small talk. You know? But it's the MSA, it's for the sake of Islam. No, it's not. That's shaitan. And you know, when you call it out and you try to give advice, what do they say? What do you think I am? Herbert? You're being extreme. I can't admit my fault. It's your fault. It's somebody else's fault. Hey, who does that sound like? Never admitting that you've done anything wrong. You can't do it. You get offended. Immediately get offended. Who are you? Who are you to tell I'm better than you? You can't tell me. You know? So this is, and I'm not saying you should go around judging people like, hey, your face, you know, your hair, your clothes, everything about you is haram. Like, you don't do that either. But at the same time, sincere advice. Like, it's inappropriate. Don't dress in this way. And I don't know, these things, because we're living in a time now where shamelessness is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And we're living in crazy times where a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, a brother, a sister can sit together and watch the same filth on TV, and nobody flinches. They can listen to, disgusting songs on the radio while they're driving together. What happened to our manhood, man? What happened to our ghira? What happened to our shame? What happened to it? You could sit with your parents and watch something like that? And we just forwarded it. Really? That's all your dignity is left? Just a forward button, that's what your dignity is left with? These ayat, they're living ayat. They're not just historical studies. We're supposed to maintain our character with these kinds of things.